On the line with me is LCMS Director of Disaster Response, the Reverend Dr. Ross Johnson. Ross, what are you all doing right now? You're headed out to Georgia, I believe.
Right now, we're heading down to the Orlando-Tampa area of Florida. We're going to be meeting up with the District Disaster Coordinator for the Florida and Georgia District. Well, the first step that we're going to take is to make an assessment of what the needs are. As I'm driving down right now, it's literally the first light after the storm has passed the mainland of Florida. So there's not even an assessment of the first responders yet. So we're at really the most initial stages. I'm driving down to Florida today because we're trying to position ourselves to be able to enter into Florida as soon as the first responders have cleared the roads and have made sure that the roads are safe and secure, so that we can be connecting with our LCMS congregations, offering support to them as they show mercy in the name of Christ to their community.
Ross, what kind of support are you going to be bringing? Material support? I guess you have to do an assessment first, so you're going to be working with the district people there?
Exactly. So myself and some district leadership will be meeting with church leaders, asking them what are the greatest needs that they as a congregation and as a community have. And then we'll be working together to bring the capacity from the other 34 districts of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod to bring that capacity to fulfill what those needs are that the churches have and also the community needs.
Well, I know that you've just come back from dealing with Hurricane Harvey. What lessons have you learned from Harvey that you can apply to Irma?
One thing that we've learned from Hurricane Harvey is a reinforcement of the importance of the district, congregations, and the Synod all working together. And when we do that, amazing things can happen. Our response with Hurricane Harvey is going extremely well, especially for the first week or two. And also, we've been reminded of the significance of listening to the leadership that is most close or closest to the disaster. For example, the people that are in that community or that congregation, they know the needs of the community better than anybody else. That's why our model as the LCMS of working through congregations that were there before the disaster, that are there during the disaster, and will be there for years to come is a great model because they know the needs of their community. They know who has been forgotten by the large organizations, and they're going to be there for the long term. Unfortunately, a lot of the organizations that do relief work are there for the first couple of weeks, maybe the first few weeks, and then they pack up and they go home or they go on to the next disaster. But as the LCMS, we're there for the long haul. We're there to support congregations and communities for the next couple of years to come if that's what's needed.
Well, my understanding is we still have workers in the New Orleans area still doing restoration work from Hurricane Katrina that happened 12 years ago.
Absolutely. So that's part of the long-term program that we do. And we work together and we support the work of our recognized service organization, which is Camp Restore, which is based out of New Orleans. And they have several other sites that they've continued to work for years and years after because there's long-term needs, but there's also humanitarian needs in some of these large cities.
How can people find out what we're doing right now? I know that there's a website set up.
The best way to find out what the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is doing across the state of Florida and Georgia and in Texas is to go to lcms.org/disaster. Once again, that's lcms.org/disaster. You can find out about our response to Hurricane Irma and also to Hurricane Harvey in ways that you as a layperson can either be praying for the recovery work, can be volunteering, or can be donating. At this point, the greatest need with Hurricane Irma is to be able to generously donate so that we can have the resources in place so that we can give the right response at the right scope and size and scale when it's needed most.
It seems to me that especially coming directly on the heels of Harvey, that the purse may be a little empty. We need some more input for it. We need some more donations.
Members of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod have been outstandingly generous after Hurricane Harvey. Unfortunately, the need doesn't end there. There are so many people that have lost so much in Hurricane Irma, and this is so shocking to have two catastrophic hurricanes hit the United States within a 2-week time period. It's stretching the resources of NGOs, of the federal government, but also the human need continues on.
The material needs are going to have to be met, but the spiritual needs are there right now. How do we do that? Do we pray for them? Do you pray for them? How do we handle the spiritual needs of these people?
The spiritual needs are best met by local pastors in their communities. That's why we want to lift up those congregations. John chapter 14, verse 27 says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." The world gives a peace that is not satisfying. They give the things of this world. However, as Christians, the church, we're able to offer them a spiritual peace with God, reminding them that their best life, their best world is not right now, but our hope is in the world that is to come. And so we share the love of Christ. As we are taking care of earthly needs, we are also offering spiritual care. And that's one of the great ways that the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod is able to act differently than so many of the non-government organizations or FEMA. Those organizations do helpful work, but they don't do it in the name of Christ. The Lutheran Church is able to offer spiritual care along with helping hands.
I want to thank you so much for taking time. I know that you're busy right now en route. God bless you, and you certainly have the prayers from those of us here at the LCMS and the International Center.